We're in the presence of people that live, you know, in the army. We kind of face the fact that, you know, we're going to be going into combat situations. So it's a bit more real, it's a bit more realistic, and a bit more about some of the gory side of life that maybe the kind of civvies, you might say, aren't really so used to. Sikhi, as you can see around you, there's many things around here. Just to give you a context of where we are. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is there. So where Jaswinder Singh is sitting there, he would be holding a whisk. And in India, obviously, there's times like flies and things flying around. So this thing that he's holding there is a fly whisk to make sure that nothing disturbs the king. So he's not the person that we're bowing to, we're bowing down to the king. And who is the king? The king is under those cloths. It's our Guru. The text is now our Guru. And we treat it like our king. So when the Guru was physical, when there were the 10 Gurus from 1469 through till 1708, in those 300 years of the Gurus actually being around, 250, 300 years, the Guru was always served in this way. There would always be a Sikh who would be waiting on them with either some wind, if it's hot, or a fly whisk. And also there'd always be this canopy on top, which is again a royal canopy, and it was for kings, and it was meant to, you know, ward off the sun. And even if they were in the sun, then somebody would be holding up an umbrella. So for us, our Guru is not just a text to learn from. It literally is, our king, both in spiritual guidance and in worldly guidance. So it's not just a king who doesn't, who makes spiritual teachings only. The laws that he gives us, we apply in the world. So, and at the front, you might have noticed, some of you guys that came to the front, there's a lot of weapons. There's a gun, there's shields, there's different types of swords, and traditionally, religious places aren't associated with weapons. Yeah, would you all agree? It tends to be that people think of the saintly people are the unarmed guys, and they need to have soldiers to guard them. Whereas in Sikhi, it's slightly way around. When we bow down to our Guru, we're bowing down to the weapons that surround him as well. And the Guru is armed in that sense, and the Sikhs are armed. Every Sikh who takes Amrit and walks around with, a weapon, and they are armed, men and women. One of the few nations to arm all of our women, but a bit of a risky step maybe. Still, it's paid out for us over the last 300 years. We've had women as generals, we've had women as soldiers in the front lines, infantry, what you might call. Even the British Army won't allow that for now, but it's happened in our past. So what I thought I'd talk about is, what do Sikhs want? When you come to a place, you say, oh, it's nice, you've got one God. I think you've got the leaflet which you were giving out, right? So you've kind of seen roughly what the philosophy is. But if many people then, they go over I think a good question is what do actually people want to achieve in the world? What kind of world will be a world that Sikhs would want to kind of live in or create? Living is kind of idealistic, but what would they want to work towards creating? And we have a slogan which is Deg Teg Fateh. When I say it's a slogan, we shout it out. Yeah, all the little kids love shouting it out, because they love shouting anyway if you've got kids. So they've got these slogans, and at the end of every day when we do our prayers, then we shout out these 3 slogans, which is Deg Teg Fateh, Panth ki jeet, Raj karega Khalsa. And these slogans our kids learn, they all learn. And it's kind of like our, our mottos. And everybody shouts out the last part. So the person at the front will say, Deg, Deg, and then everybody reply back with Fateh, like this. Yeah? So it's kind of like, and what does that mean? Because it's quite nice to understand, because that's really, for me, encapsulates what we want to achieve. And the word Fateh means victory. Yeah, victory to these 2 things. The 2 things are Deg and Teg. So let these 2 things be victorious all over the world. Let them spread everywhere. Right? And what those 2 things are, Deg. Deg for us is food. So when we bring prasad, or when you've been in the langar now and you had tea, you notice that there's food there as well. Right? That's part of Deg for us. That anybody is welcome into the Gurdwara to come and have food. Anybody, no matter what colour they are, what caste they are, what religion they are, they're just welcome to come in and have a free meal. And there are only two restrictions. First one is that you must eat the same food as everybody else. It's equality. If you're rich, you can't have a special rich people's langar, right, on the side for you to have your sort of fancy food, and the rest of us plebs sit on the other side, you know, having the not so nice food. No, it's got to be the same food for everybody, right? You can't have special food for people. And the second restriction is, and in which because of that, the food is always vegetarian, so everybody can eat it. Because not many people in this world that says, oh, I can't have vegetarian food. Many people that say, I can't eat meat, I can't have eggs. But our vegetarian food seems to be palatable to everybody. Every religion, every culture is happy to have vegetarian food. So that's the vegetarian side. And the second rule is, first being, food must be eaten equally by everybody. But the second thing is that it must be eaten at the same level. There can be no higher level for someone to eat somebody else. Now me sitting here on the stage is not because I'm higher up than anybody. It's simply so that you can all see me easier. Yeah. Anybody could sit up here when they're doing a talk. It's not like specifically reserved for anybody, especially holy people. But equality is very key. So you're sitting at the same level now in a Gurdwara, male and females together, okay, equality. And the same in the langar, must all sit equally, and we must all have the same food. Because langar is about breaking down barriers. Having free food in that way is about breaking down barriers, that we're all equal. And actually, it kind of reminds us that in His court, in God's court, that's true as well. In God's court, He doesn't judge us by our colour, by our money, by our social status. He doesn't judge us because of our religion. He doesn't judge us because of anything. God doesn't care about these things. What we think God cares about, He doesn't really. What He cares about, or he or she, because God has no gender, what she cares about is, what did we do? What kind of people were we? How much did we individually take steps to connect to God? So for us, Deg is equality, and it's access to the basic necessities. If you ever studied the Maslow hierarchy, and I was taught that when I was in the army as well. But the first thing that people look for is kind of food, and then they look for shelter. So Deg extends to that as well. There was a story which is probably quite relevant to this situation, where, given that you guys are primarily in the medics, is that right? So Guru Gobind Singh Ji, our 10th Guru, was a warrior. And not only were they a warrior, they were a musician as well. They invented some of these instruments here, Dilruba, they invented those. So our ideal is a warrior saint, saintly warrior. So got to be saintly first, and then you are ready to take up the sword. I'll come to that bit later on. But Guru Gobind Singh Ji was in a situation where they were on the battlefield, and you know, at the end of the battlefield, lots of people get injured. Right, so there's people dying and lying out there. And one of the Sikhs, by Kanhaiya Ji, his job was a water carrier. So he'd have a big pouch of water, and he'd be going around on the battlefield giving people water who were like dying. At one point, he saw some enemy soldiers that were crying out for water. So he was giving water to the Sikhs, but his heart couldn't refuse water to these people who were not on his side, but were now injured. So he gave them water as well. Some of the Sikhs, they saw this, and they said, Guru Sahib, they said to Kanhaiya Ji, this is not right. You are serving us. You are our water carrier. If you give away all our water to these guys, they're our enemies. They're going to get better. They're going to come back and fight us. So he was then pulled up in front of our Guru. So they reported him, and he was pulled up in front of the Guru. And Guru said to Bhai Kanhaiya Ji, so explain yourself. You've been called here for this complaint that you're giving water to the enemy soldiers. And Bhai Kanhaiya Ji said, well, Guru Sahib, when I see these people that are lying, I don't really look. I don't really see them. I just see you. I see God's light inside them. This is an injured person, a creature of God who needs my help. And I can't say no. Because he had compassion. For us to have justice in this world, the first thing you need is compassion. And because of that compassion, Guru Sahib said to him, well, don't just stop there. Don't just stop there with water. Take some medicine as well. Guru Sahib gave him a whole bunch of medicine. And he said to the Sikhs, he goes, you see this Sikh? He's realized what I keep teaching you guys, that there is no other. Yeah? In Gurbani there's a beautiful line, Maharaj says, Na ko bairi nahi bigana, sagal sang humko banai. That I have no strangers and I have no enemies. I'm joined to everybody. So although you're fighting someone on the battlefield, you recognize that is not hatred. That all you are is doing what is right. And what is right at that moment in time might require you to pick up the sword. But when somebody's not fighting you, then you'd be able to give them medicine. Like I remember talking to my wife the other day, there was a program, and I don't know if you guys seen this. Anyway, there was a program and there was a guy running away. He was running away from the police on a motorcycle, and the policeman in America shot him. And I said to her, I said, when I was in the army, they said, you weren't allowed to do something like this. If the guy's scooting away from you in a motorcycle, you can't just shoot him in the back, because he's not an immediate threat to your life. And as we were taught it when I was in the army, that, you know, under the rules of the Geneva Convention, if somebody's picking up even a bottle of, you know, a Molotov cocktail, has got it in his hand, they're not yet a threat. When they pick it up to throw it at you, then you can shoot them. So rules of engagement. And the same when someone's not fighting on the battlefield, but they're injured and they need help, at that point then a Sikh is meant to be compassionate and serve them with help. So this is the principle set up by Kanhaiya Ji. And the idea is for us that Deg then extends. Deg means not just food, it means medicine, and it means basic necessities like housing, like shelter. So this is what we wish, that everybody in the world would have food. And everybody in the world has the dignity for the basic necessities of life. Yeah? And that's not that we wish to provide that and say people convert to our religion. The Guru's never said to those Muslims that got help that you should convert to Sikhism. Yeah? We respect people to be in their religion, that's fine. Whatever religion they are, that's fine. But that they should have food and shelter. So that would be Deg. And the second thing was Deg. So a Sikh would say Deg Teg Fateh. So victory to Deg. That all over the world people have foods and basic necessities. And all over the world people have Deg. Now what does Deg mean? Deg means literally a sword. Now for us, that's why it comes back to this idea of the sword. The sword is best handled by somebody who is already saintly. If you give two people, if there's two people, one who's a bit dodgy, right, bit of, you know, would do something probably, you know, for the sake of their own getting richer, they would just do the other person over, right? If you give them weapons, or you give it to somebody who's like a saint, right, the weapon is safer in the hands of the saint than it is in the hands of somebody who's, you know, greedy or bloodthirsty or whatever. So in the same way, the Sikhs didn't want to be armed. Ideally, we'd love a world where there was no warriors, but there would be no war. But, excuse me, given that the world isn't like that, living in the real world where there are bad people, then who should have the weapons? Or the good people should have weapons. So for us, a weapon is not, it doesn't signify aggressiveness, it signifies strength to defend yourself and to defend everybody. So a kirpan, which is another word for the Deg, a kirpan that a Sikh carries on them at all times, like I've got mine, you know, it doesn't leave my body at any time. That is a weapon of defense. It's never used in offense, always used in defense. And the idea is that I should be able to defend myself if my rights are being usurped, but also I can defend anybody whose rights are being usurped. So if you've got a situation where, I don't know, I'm walking in the street, like today, nowadays in England, I don't know if self-defense, if you guys have got self-defense classes, but when it comes to practical self-defense, they teach you that if you're being attacked as a lady, right, do not shout rape or help. They say shout fire. Right? The reason you have to shout fire is that when you shout rape or help, people don't help, people get scared and they don't want to get involved, they walk off. Right? So by shouting fire, people are like, oh, I better go and see what's going on, and then you'll get help. Right? So in our situation, our society is so messed up that actually the idea of defending a woman is no longer a priority for a man. Yeah? And the Gurus have given us a different kind of command. They've said that if you've got this sword, that you're a defender of everybody. So the kirpan is used to be is for defense of anyone else's safety. And you know, many times in our history, the Sikhs have been noted, like for example when the Abdalis were coming from Afghanistan to attack India. They would come it's like Vikings, every summer they'd come and loot India. And the Sikhs would be the ones that would rescue the women that were being taken back to being sold in the slave markets of Kabul. And they would rescue these ladies and take them back to their houses. You know, they would be Hindu ladies or whatever, take them back home. And for us, that defense of other people is very essential. Yeah. So if you can imagine what the Sikhs want to achieve then, that the kirpan would signify freedom. Yeah, that everybody is free to practice their own belief. Everybody is free, has this basic human rights to choose their religion, to choose the way they want to live, and to not be subjugated and be, tortured or, be under the rule of tyrants. So the mission for the Sikhs is then Deg Teg Fateh would be that everybody in the world is fed, everybody in the world has basic human rights, and everybody has basic human freedoms. And if these things can be spread all over the world, Sikhs will be happy. That means Fateh, victory. That would be victory. For the Sikhs, we would count ourselves victorious if everybody was fed and safe. Deg Teg Fateh. And that victory is not our victory, it's a victory of God. Because human beings create these problems. These are not problems created by nature. Human beings create these problems. And if human beings can solve those problems, then we've stepped up beyond, our lower human selves into our higher human selves. Because we can solve these problems, isn't it? The reality is that the world spends more on perfume than they spend, that they would have to spend on eradicating poverty. If you look at poverty, how much it would cost to eradicate it. We spend twice as much on perfume and cosmetics than we do on eradicating poverty. So these are all problems that can be solved. But the thing is that human beings need to solve them. And the Guru, he decided the Sikhs have been given this mission now to complete that mission of God. Everybody should be fed and everybody should be safe. So that will be our first slogan. Now, when you start to do this, people will step up against you. If you start to feed people across the world, if you start to protect people across the world, as you find when the army goes as a force for good, what will happen? People will try and stop you. Yeah? Sierra Leone, we've seen what we've done in Afghanistan. People come against you. So then you need Panth ki jeet. You need the Panth, the Sikh people who are going to, if whoever's going to do this mission, people that walk upon this path, because path means, Panth means path. People that walk upon this path, they need to then win the battle. You're going to have people come against you, they need to win. And which is why, again, the Guru's given us this kind of hukum, this mission that we can use weapons. But there's a rule about that as well. And the rule is, when all else has failed, then it is righteous to pick up the sword. So diplomacy, maneuver warfare, you guys might have studied that. That's kind of like not having to kill someone, maybe just cut out all their food supply so they just become ineffective. Or knock out all their, Rimi tanks to come and fix all their tanks, and that's it, just rock out the Rimi and then the army stops. So when all else has failed, try what you can to avoid bloodshed. But when it has failed, then it is righteous then to pick up the sword. And so the righteous have to win. Because the famous saying goes, for evil to prosper, all it needs is good people to do nothing. So we do see ourselves as a force for good. One of the reasons I joined the army was that I felt that the army was a force for good, and I felt like the Khalsa is a force for good. So we can just marry those two together. I can learn about being a force for good from the British Army. So the first slogan was Deg Teg Fateh. Second slogan is Panth ki jeet. Jeet means victory. The people on this path should be victorious. They shouldn't lose. And the last bit in the Raj Karega Khalsa, that those people that are pure of thought, those people that are pure of intention, they are the ones that should rule the world. Not the politicians who necessarily are interested in getting elected and having the power and people praise them, but those people that are actually pure of thought and of words and of actions, they should be the ones that rule the world. So philosopher saints, we would say that the kings should be the philosophers, the people that are actually interested in something bigger than just worldly success. Okay, so that would be the slogan of the Sikhs. You've seen the leaflet. The thing I wanted to just note on that is that many times in our history, the Gurus led by example. Some things that the British Army is always trying to tell its leaders and its officers, and I was taught at Sanders, is you must lead by example. You cannot be at the back saying, go on boys, I'll be right behind you. You've seen the videos that they show. There's always somebody who say, yeah, go on officer, you go. No, you go. No. So how do the Sikhs see it? In the very same way. The Guru is led by example, and we must lead by example. And two examples I want to give you is the fifth Guru. The fifth Guru was asked to convert. He was the very first martyr for Sikhi. He was asked to convert to Islam by the ruling powers at that time, which were the Mughal Empire. And he refused to. And for that reason, he was tortured. He was tortured by putting him on a hot plate from underneath, being cooked slowly from below, and they poured boiling hot sand onto him from above. And the whole time he was being asked, why don't you convert? Or why don't you give us the order so we fight them? But he knew it was not the time for fighting just yet. And what he said was something amazing. He said, Tera kiya meetha lage. That, oh Waheguru, your will, as you wish for this to happen, your will is sweet to me. So fortitude, accepting God's will, is very important. But then, his grandson, Guru Teg Fateh, the 9th Guru, he actually gave his life to save the freedom of religion of all of Hindus. He was beheaded right in the center of Delhi in 1675. A very unique principle. You know, you've heard there's a famous philosopher called Voltaire, and he said, I don't believe in what you believe, but I'll defend to death your right to believe it. So the Gurus they weren't Sikhs, they weren't Hindus, but the Hindus were being converted against their will. And Guru stepped up, and to defend their freedom and their religious right, he then gave his own life. In 1675, he was beheaded right in the center of Delhi. If you go to the Red Fort, right there. The principle was that everybody should be free to follow their beliefs. And the Gurus led from the front in that way. They didn't stay back. The 10th Guru himself lost all 4 of his sons. He didn't gain anything from being a Guru. His 2 sons died in battle. Other 2 sons were very young, 7 and 9 years old, and they were bricked to life. And we call him, the nickname for him is Sarbanstani, that he's the one who gave up his whole family. Sarbans means family, Dani means to give. The giver of his, he sacrificed his whole family. So the Gurus always led from the front. In the same way then, a Sikh is told, if you're going to step out into this world, you must lead from the front. Which is why we have this visible, standout look. That those people that are committed followers of the Guru, they commit to becoming his family. They go through the rite of initiation. When they're of an age, they can choose to do so. You might be young, you might be old, but you choose it yourself. And if you become initiated then, from that point on, you can't cut your hair. You must stand out. The turban makes you stand out. So wherever you are, people can say, oh, that guy, he or she is a Sikh. And that person should be following the rules of their Guru then. And if you're in need of help, then you can ask on a Sikh. Because if you imagine yourself walking in the street, say like Sheffield's, it's not Sheffield, so Newcastle's not too bad an area, but if you're walking around Newcastle and some random geezers came up and mugged you, and you're on the floor, you've got a cut, and you're looking for help, you look around and you see 20 people looking at you, but then you look across the road and there's a policeman, right? He's got his uniform on. Most of us would probably call the policeman first, yeah? The reason for that is we believe the policeman would come and help us because it's his job or her job. They're trained and they are paid to do that job, and you expect them to do a better job than the average Joe Blogs might turn up. So in the same way, the Guru has this demand from his Sikhs that the Sikhs must be able to defend others, and that's their duty. So therefore they can't drink, they can't do drugs, they must be sober at all times, and they must be armed at all times to defend anybody. So this is why we stand out. We stand out so that anybody else can ask us for help. It's not that, we do like wearing turbans and beards, but you can be a Sikh without one. But the fact is, how would anybody else know they can ask you for help? They wouldn't unless you stand out in this way. So the Guru's given us order. And what the Khalsa, the people that initiated into this order, they're always armed, they always stand out, and they have a saying for themselves. Right? They say, Khalsa, Akal Purakh ki Fauj. That the Khalsa is the army of God. Just like you're in the army, and the army says, I take the oath of allegiance to the Queen, the people that join this army of the Khalsa, they take an oath of allegiance to the Guru. And they say that we now work directly for God. Yeah, we are His policemen in the world. As we go in the world, if we see unrighteous thing happening, then we should defend that. We should step in there. And it's our job to give our life, if need be, to defend other people's rights. Never to usurp them, never to take people's rights away, never to be aggressive, but always in defense of other people and ourselves. Alright, so I've spoken a few bits about our philosophy, where we come from. You can read more about ourselves. If you want to watch any videos,